Welcome back. Thank you for tuning into the Still Knick Fans podcast. This is episode number 28. We are back to give you that Knick content. Feels like it's been forever having the whole crew back, but we here now, baby. What's up, John? What's happening?
We here, live in the wreck, baby. Live in the wreck. You see, we got the whole backdrop ready to go. Our guy Jose is back.
We in full effect right now. We in full effect.
Shout out to my guy who had an enjoyable time off with his wife. Enjoy their honeymoon. Congratulations again, Jose. I'm glad that you're back, but I'm also extremely, extremely proud of you and glad that you had the opportunity to spend, that precious time with the one you love. So kudos to you, man, and your family, man. Word.
Yes. I echo those same sentiments, bro. Definitely happy to have you back, man. As always, I'm your man, Ron. That's my brother, John. Just wanted to show you how excited we are to be back in full effect because, we missed this. We missed this look, this vibe. But yeah, man, this is gonna be one of them shows that is more specific in nature. I feel like past couple weeks I've been personally like in the twilight zone on Twitter. I've been stuck. So all of my follows and all these people, they keep talking about RJ Barrett, how he's this, he's that. Then you got the haters. Then will he be good? Is he gonna regress? Can he achieve something higher than he did last year? And I'm here to say the answer is yes. Okay, RJ Barrett is going to continue to improve. He's only 21 years old. He's taking the right steps. He's doing the right things. He's making the right effort. So instead of us, downplaying what the kid, I want to say kid because he's so young, downplaying what the young guy is doing, let's, praise him. Let's, build him up. Give him props for what he's doing, man. So that's what this show is about. This is about the RJ Barrett hate that's out there, dispelling rumors, and also to kind of shine a light on RJ for what he's been doing and how we should appreciate him. We're lucky to have this guy on the Knicks. So let's look at it for that. Let's not keep doing the normal New York thing. We hate everything in New York.
That's a good point, man. I'm gonna echo those sentiments and say "si se puede," right? That's a Mexican terminology. Of course you can, right? Like, yes, we can. And I think for RJ, I think he's pushing that envelope, right? You see him out there. There's a lot of workout videos going on in the internet right now. He's putting in the time, putting in the effort. We got to see what he can do when he puts it all together on the court. The great thing about this all, though, and I'll say this before we really get into it, is that he has time right now with all the new pieces to just take his time to mature into it, right? He doesn't need to. It doesn't have to happen like right away. So now with Fournier here and Walker here, it gives him an opportunity to, mature into that role, into that number 2 role, if he can, and then we'll see. We'll see, how that builds up in the next, year or two, but at least he's gonna play extensive minutes with the starting lineup. We're gonna see him with the starting lineup. We're gonna see him, play a role, more of a shooter's role, I'm guessing. But again, I could see him going down screen, and attacking the basket. So
yeah. No, I definitely think this is going to be a big year for RJ. I expect him to do some really nice things and, maybe be in contention to win most improved player. Who knows? I honestly think that maybe he should be in contention to win 6th man of the year. You might say, well, RJ's a starter. We'll get to that. Anyway, so we are not alone today. Joining us is, a friend of the show. He's been here before. We gave you a sneak peek as into the mind of him, because what you got that last time was just a little bit. This guy's always thinking, always working on different things. The reason I keep this guy around is not just because he's one of my good friends. It's also because his mind keeps me fresh, man. I have somebody to go at when I'm not quite sure what I'm thinking. He sets me up. So
That's good
without
to
further
have,
ado,
man.
yeah, we've got Cornelius Thomas, aka the Prophet from Feet Sports, is back with us again. So welcome back,
Yes,
bud.
sir. Yes,
We
sir.
always love
Welcome,
having you on the
welcome.
show, man.
Thank you guys for having me. Excited to impart some perspectives on RJ and join you guys in your Nick Hope.
That's a good way to put
Yeah,
it. There's some Nick
Yeah,
hope going on.
that's what it is. That's what it is.
definitely.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being here once again. And
Mhm.
the reason why I definitely wanted to have you here today is because we are talking about RJ, and you know, prior to the NBA draft, when RJ was drafted, you had a lot of information about him. You basically told me that the Knicks will be in good shape if we get RJ. Of
Mhm.
course, over the years, you may have kind of not had him high on your radar anymore, but in the beginning, you
Yeah,
were really high on him. So
yeah.
maybe you could talk to certain things about RJ's game that you liked in the past, and maybe something you see that you like now about his game.
I
Or
think
even to add to that though, what
yeah,
what haven't you seen translate? Like what
yeah.
haven't you seen
Mm.
translate from college to the NBA in your opinion?
I think one of the things that was really exciting about him was how aggressive he was downhill. One of the things that a lot of guys lack coming out from college into the pros is the physicality to score in the lane, attack the rim, and do a little bit of everything. I think his ball handling was underrated coming in. He's it's sneaky. It's there. Sometimes you don't see it often because he doesn't go to it often because he's always getting downhill. Um, so that was something that was a component of his game, and you saw those pieces, and you just thought physicality wise he was going to be able to thrive, make a way for himself a lot sooner than most guys when they come into the NBA. I think as he's gotten into the league, what he's realized and what we're all seeing is that those types of shots are more and more difficult to convert at a high rate in the pros because of the size, the physicality of the game, the athleticism of the game. So, in order to continue to grow as a player, he's having to diversify his game a little bit. He's having to become a better perimeter shooter, which is going to still allow him to get downhill, but at least because the threat of his jump shot right now just doesn't exist to the degree that it's going to open him up all the way. And once he gets that there, it's really going to open up his game. And I think one of the biggest, and I've been talking around about this for a while, is that I'm not going to comp him, but a guy who had similar issues, and it's a very interesting, perspective, was Bradley Beal early in his career. Their movements were very tight. So one thing you notice about RJ is he's left to right horizontally. He's a little. He doesn't get as much movement left to right as he does north to south, vertically. So one of the things that you'll see a lot of guys in the pro, the best players can move as well left to right and as far distance wise, range wise as they can north to south. And that's what allows guys to do the dribble step backs, the gathers, all those things. And he's limited in terms of his sidestep, things like that. And that's a big part of the game today is creating space in between you and the defender for easier jump shots. So he's working on that game, and I would say this is probably going to be. I'm presuming that this offseason is probably going to make a huge difference in this game because for years, even when I was training kids, um, a guy that I followed was the Pure Sweat brand, which is Drew Hanlon's brand, Alan Stein's brand, and he's working with Drew Hanlon. And when I heard that, I said to myself, "Oh, he's got it." This is what we're talking about, because I honestly believe Hamlin might be the best in the game, because Hamlin helps you to change your movements. He makes you a more efficient, like, movement athlete, in addition to all the skill stuff that he adds to your bag. Um, One of the issues Bradley Beal had was his gait coming in. He took steps that would put more stress and weight on his bones, and that's why he suffered so many injuries. That's why he constantly was dealing with that fibula, the stress fracture injury. So the pressure, and you can, there was a podcast from JJ Redick that where he goes into a lot of detail about it, and you'll hear him talk in great detail about how he had to actually redesign the whole way he walked. I had to do that when I punctured my patella, because I would re-injure it if I had to continue. And I think the same thing is going to have to occur for RJ in order to increase his range of motion, so that he can be. I mean, he has the youth, he has the physical ability, but his movements, so that he can optimize his movements to be the best version of himself. So I think working with Drew will help him in that regard. I think there's going to be some other things that he's going to need to do to improve that gait aspect. But I think overall, he's definitely moving in the right direction. And I'm excited, actually, hearing that he's working with Drew and everything, that to see how much that changes his game. And I have some other thoughts about how it meshes, but I think in terms of what your question was, I hope that kind of gives you a little insight into where I am with him. And I just think I think he's on the right track. So
That's a great point. I didn't really think about that. Like watching him, like creating separation is a big factor for his game. I couldn't pinpoint that, but now that you're saying it, I think back of all the times where he's one on one against a defender and he can't create the separation to get his shot off.
no,
That's a great point. Wow.
just a
Well,
lot
you
of
heard it here
contested.
first, man. Prophet's giving us the insight. If you're watching, get on the chat, send some questions over for us. See we can answer them for you, and that's
Just a
dope.
lot of contested shots for him, and I think that in the NBA, you need just a little tinge more room in order to make
Right,
that shot with great
right,
consistency. I think that's what's impacting his field goal percentage. It's going up,
right,
but I think it's going to go up even
Right.
more now he's working with Drew, because Drew really helps you to find space really well. So,
right. And you're going up
Yeah,
against,
we've got
like you
some.
said, stronger and taller defenders, right? So
oh yeah, oh yeah.
that's big.
We've got some video of RJ working out in the gym with, under Drew Hanlon's expert tutelage, and you can see like his shot is very fluid. His movement seems like he's just very confident. I mean, he's letting it fly. Granted, obviously, he's not playing against NBA defense, but he's
Hmm.
definitely looks comfortable and he looks confident. Like you see him pulling up and taking shots that I not used to seeing RJ do. And if he brings that
Mm.
into the NBA game, it could be really nice for the Knicks. It could be a real. He can turn into a real special player.
Especially off the
I
bounce.
think.
That's what you're
Yeah.
seeing a lot of, like
Exactly.
off the bounce, where before it was usually he wouldn't really pull up off the bounce. He'll go like you say, north to south primarily. You wouldn't really see him stop and pop. So it's interesting.
One dribble
Yeah.
pull up
I
is a
like it.
big part of the game. Yeah, I think for a lot of guys to have that one dribble pull up, if you look at Bradley Beal's game, you look at a lot of these guys' game, that one dribble pull up, it makes the defender respect you to the point where he has to play you a lot tighter. And then when they play you tighter, the blow by is there. That's what, because Bradley Beal's
Hmm.
not an amazing athlete by any stretch, but he has a great first step and he has the great in between game that allows him to get to the rim, as well as allows him it keeps you on your heels a little bit as a defender and allows him to get the step back to be really, really effective. So, yeah, so it's good to see this out of RJ. Definitely.
You
Yeah.
know
No,
what else I've been
I think
seeing?
it's.
I'm sorry, did
What's
I
that?
break up?
Oh no. I was thinking about something. What's that?
Now, what I'm starting to notice too in a lot of these videos is that, I mean, when they're showing him take it to the basket, he's getting a lot more lift, than you were seeing in the past, where there are moments where you can see him
Mm-hmm.
go for a layup. He looks a little bit more comfortable getting at the rim. It gets up a little higher too. It's starting to show a little more that physicality. I mean, I thought he always had it even in college, but I just feel like I think he went up a little bit and went up a notch there as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think one of the things Drew Hanlon mentioned about RJ is he is a tireless worker, and I think as a Knick fan, there's no better compliment than to hear a player on your team just keeps working to get better. I mean, we heard it all last season about Julius Randle, and we saw the results, right? So if Drew is saying that about RJ, and he's coming in with that same type of attitude that Julius might have had last year, then you know I think the sky's the limit. That just makes me even more excited. Makes me feel like RJ possibly being most improved and possibly being an all-star is something that can definitely happen. And I know that yes, I'm a Knick fan, guys. I know it's I'm sipping the Kool-Aid a little bit, but you know what? It's all
Oh
right
yeah.
because RJ has improved every year. So I'm not upset with that take. Um, One of the things that I wanted to talk about that I see has been, you know, I watch so much Nick content. One of the things that has been very controversial, I saw it on the Nothing But Knicks podcast. Um, they brought up the idea of RJ not playing with the starters.
Mm,
He can start the game with them, but they brought up the idea of him playing primarily with the second unit. And let me tell you, if you want to see a Nick chat go crazy, everybody was going nuts. So,
hmm.
I love it.
however, even though I feel RJ has earned that starting spot and he deserves to come out with the starters, I actually agree with the whole thing that I think he's better suited for being able to run out there with Derrick Rose and Alec Burks and Obi Toppin and him be the focal point of that second unit and really be comfortable. Because I think
Mm.
in that first unit, you got him going out there, you got Kemba Walker, you got Evan Fournier, you got Julius Randle. That ball is going to be moving around to those players initially. RJ may get it here and there, but it's really, the focus is going to be on these guys. And
Right.
it would probably be better for RJ to be in that you're the go-to guy of this second unit. Think of how much better it's going to be if he gets that confidence and then say Randall needs a breather. RJ can be on the court and you don't miss a beat because he's got that confidence. He's used to scoring because he's the focal point of the second unit. It's like interchangeable. I think it's a much better idea. And now when you kind of really look at um, what they were trying to say, it's not that far fetched. It actually makes a lot of sense. What do you guys think? What's your opinion?
Um,
I'll let Cornelius go ahead, take that one, Cornelius, because I got a
okay.
lot to say about that one because I didn't think I didn't catch that NBK show. I missed that one, so
Well,
I would have
okay.
probably been on that chat going heavy. So
I'm a big fan of it. That idea. I didn't think about that, and hearing of that, I just think it's an absolutely tremendous idea because when you think about a 21-year-old with those established vets trying to assert himself, it's a tough ask. It's a very tough ask. I don't care where you were drafted, because when the NBA, where you drafted means nothing. It's all about what you do and your production. Um, he's a guy that's had, I think the shot attempts jumped to about 15 a game from 13 a game, and we want to keep that where it's at, if not grow that. And I think that volume is going to come as a alpha in the second unit, not as an accessory to the starters in the first unit, because I don't think that serves the full range of the game that he's developing. If you put him in that first unit, he's going to be a spot up shooter, like you said. He's not going to be able to drive it down hole to the hole a lot because Randall's going to be there. It's going to have that same complicated feel that it had last year. I think also, um, you know, that age element is a big part of this evolution. For him to find his way in the NBA, he's doing it as a really young guy. He just got his ability to go out and drink. I mean, he's 21 now. And so, with that being the case, there's a lot of mental um, responsibility that he's been tasked with as a starter. I think as a second unit guy, the goal can be like Ron said, hey, 6 man of the year, um, and not to pigeonhole him as they transition and guys go from year to year, and maybe some of these free agents go away. I think it will be advantageous to him to be in the second unit. I really do. So um, I'm a big fan of that idea. Big fan of that idea. So I think it's a great point. Yeah, definitely.
Well, here's my take. Although it's not
Oh,
the worst idea, it's not the worst idea. I'm wondering who would then fall into that position. And for me, it doesn't necessarily matter because whether you start or you come off the bench, there's going to be a moment in time where each member of the team is going to play with each other, right? There are going to be moments in
mm-hmm.
time where Barrett is only out there with Kemba or just out there with Rose, you know what I mean? And
Right.
that for me is going to be the moment where he shines most, um, and where Toppin is going to get a lot of opportunities as well, But
Mm-hmm.
you know, for me, if he starts with the team, um, I don't necessarily see him coming off the bench because who do you play? You play Burks, you play another senior player who I don't know how that translates because him and Fournier are very similar when in the style, right? Burks and Fournier, they like to take the ball off the dribble, be facilitators, you know.
I, I think Burks has
That's
some
it's true.
athleticism gifts that can help you. I think, and I also think Obi's the guy you play because and what it does for Obi really well a lot is it
So
takes the pressure
Obi at
off
the
him
three?
having. Yeah, here's why.
Wow.
As an athlete, you're adding a high level athlete that if you say to him, forget about offense, I need you to be a defensive guy, he will excel because now he can focus in and some of his gifts, his athleticism will come into play, some of his improvement on the lateral movement, because I think he's going to become a better lateral movement guy as he gets more acclimated to the NBA game. He can almost become a guy that can be like a defensive specialist type of guy. Yes, that's not what you wanted, but that's a gift that he has in his skill set. And he was born with those gifts, the ability to jump through the gym. And so, and when you take away the having to score an isolation element for him, and you just let him run and go, like you saw him in summer league, where they did isolate him, but when he's making putbacks and getting those hustle buckets, that's when I think he's going to be at his best as a pro. Because the isolation shots he got in college, I don't think he's going to get them in the pros. I just don't think he's going to get that volume. I don't think he's going to get that space. Um, but I think he fits. I think he fits because he's a supreme athlete for you guys. And I think the Knicks lack in that area where they don't have guys like that. Burks, I think, can also work too. But like you said, there's a little duplication when it comes to Fournier's style. I think the Burks
Yeah.
has some steals in him that makes him a real advantageous player. He can steal the ball. He can that's
Right.
something he's always been pretty solid at. So I think he can help you there in that way. Fournier doesn't have to play the two. You can flip those two a little bit
Right.
and depending on the matchup. And yeah, I think you're still good there. So that's why I love Ron's idea or
Right.
whatever idea Ron heard. I'm not gonna
Right.
claim it's his.
It's
But
not, it's not mine.
It's not. Yeah.
yeah, my bad.
It's a smart idea. I
Yeah.
mean, the folks at MBK, came up with that conversational piece, and that's pretty dope. Um, that's interesting. Yeah, and it's interesting that you say Toppin because when you think about Toppin at the three and using them in the way that you're saying to use them, it's almost like the Phoenix and how they use the Matrix, or Dallas and when Matrix was kind of a little older. I like that. I would see that as the comparison. I think you're right
Point.
because he does run the court really well. Even though and he finishes at the rim, which is great to have. I could see that. I could see that. It's gonna
I
take
want to
some
ask you
time
guys
though
a
to get
question.
used to. You know.
I want to ask you guys a
Yeah,
question.
it's yeah. Oh, I just wanted to say one thing real quick. Uh, I like the Toppin idea at the three, but even if you don't use Toppin, this is a perfect opportunity. Think about it.
I know what's coming. I know what's
This is
coming.
a perfect
Oh,
opportunity for Kevin
Miles.
Knox.
Oh, not no.
Kemba,
Ugh,
Fournier,
ugh,
Knox, Randall, Mitch. No pressure on Knox. Knox can just go out there and play, and
He has
he'll
to
be open in the
show a
corner for
lot
a
though.
nice three.
He
No,
has to
I
show a
I,
lot
I
more in
agree.
practice though. Yeah.
I agree. But hey, it's a good spot for him. So, but what's your question, Thomas?
You know, and Ron, I had this complaint, a significant complaint. I'm actually kind of mad at Tibbs last year in the playoffs. Um, I felt like the Knicks needed to go small with Randall at the five, and I know I've had this, conversation for a while.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
how do you think? I mean, that places RJ where in the continuum as a three, right? To some
Hmm.
degree, right? Or
Right.
or even, yeah. How do you
Yeah.
think that helps them? I mean, because I think one of the things that they have is they get a little too stiff from the front line with Mitchell and some of these guys, and so getting up and down, guarding some of the more athletic teams, the teams that shoot it better, it becomes an issue. But I just was wondering, you guys take a longer look at the Knicks and so forth, and I just wanted to know, like, how do you think that small ball unit would work, and do you think Barrett, um, how he fits in that? Just wondering what you guys thought.
Hmm. You want to take that, John?
Yeah, I'll take it because I think the team is a lot more prepped with the kind of players that they brought on now than they were last year. There wasn't enough perimeter shooting last year, in my opinion. So even if you play Randall at the five, you're limiting the amount of touches he's going to get because he's gonna work a lot harder on defense, right? And so if he's working a lot harder on defense because he has to rebound the ball and get stops, especially on pick and roll, you ain't he's not going to have the to be he can't really be your best option on offense either at that point because you're running him ragged. And with a guy like Trey Young, you he's going to consistently use pick and roll, right? That's their thing, and he uses it really well. So for me, I would have liked to seen a little bit of it, but I don't think we had enough shooting last year. I don't know, who do you put in the roster that can really shoot the ball and space the ball out because the guys were inconsistent,
Yeah.
especially in the playoff game. But this year,
So
I could see that this year. I could definitely see that this year. There's a lot more versatility in our roster. And, we could go fast. We could definitely go fast. You put Kemba
yeah.
and Rose together, even Kemba and Quickly together.
Mm.
And you can run the court really, you know what I mean? So I could see them utilizing that this year in certain times of the game. Or if you, like you said, they run against a team that's a lot smaller unit, maybe a Golden State, because Golden State likes to play small, um,
Hmm.
and other teams like that. Sometimes the Hawks when they don't have Clint Capella on. Um, what are your thoughts, Ron?
Well, I think that it makes a lot more sense now with the fact that we do have, I think, a better offensive unit. And especially the starting lineup. If you're going to be running out there with Kimba and Fournier, Julius can play at the center position and not feel like the ball has to go through his hands in order for the Knicks to have a good flowing offensive, type of production. Having Kimba out there is big. I wouldn't necessarily think to do that if you're in a situation where uh, the other point guard we used to have was still on the team. Um, and because I think that at, when you have that type of setup, Randall had to have the ball and it had to go through him, and you can't have the ball going through your center. It's just it's a weird setup, you know.
You can.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could, but I haven't seen it. It's just
Jokic
odd
does it.
Embiid,
to do it that way.
Jokic does it.
Embiid.
Oh well, yeah, Jokic
Yeah,
does it, and Embiid does it to an
Embiid
extent
does
too.
it too.
Yeah, I guess it does work. I guess
I
it does
love
work.
it. I did it with my rec
foreign
team
to
too.
see it as a Nick thing. Who else?
I did it with my rec team.
Yeah.
Oh,
I had a
yeah.
kid drop
No,
Actually,
it,
you know
35
what?
again.
it could be done. It's
And
depending on the team you play against, right? Because if you're gonna,
yeah,
it's like he's gonna have to play somebody on defense, right? And that's the thing. Is like, do you overexert him on the defensive end?
here was
I don't
here
know.
was my
What do you think?
rationale last year because I was
Mhm.
I was livid with Tibbs
Right.
because Capella didn't have to work at all
Right.
that series because
True.
his matchup was a giveaway. But if you put Randall on him, now you have Randall pulling him out, and you have drive angles now. You have drive and dish angles. You got Bullock open. You got
Hmm.
Quick open.
Right.
IQ. I'm sorry, I call him Quick. I apologize.
Yeah. No,
Uh,
it's fine.
you know,
We're not gonna hold you
you
into
know,
anything.
well, Nick Land. I want to make sure I get it right. So,
Okay.
I think that he was almost making it too easy for them by not having because Randall's going to get Capella in foul trouble. I can promise you that. Because
Yeah.
Randall, when he
Hmm.
gets downhill, Capella's not going to have the foot speed. When he gets to the rim, Randall's going to draw contact because he draws contact on anything that walks, and
Hmm.
he's going to probably make it. And he's going to shoot the three ball. So now Capella really has some concerns, and they're going to have to go small. And if they go
Right.
small, and you go with John Collins at the 5
Hmm.
versus Capella at the 5, you're winning that with Randall because Randall's going to beat him up. And
Right.
Randall's going to be. So that was my concern is that you had to do something to alleviate because Capella was just way too comfortable. And anytime
Hmm.
anybody went to the rim, Capella was waiting for him. So all those shots were difficult shots for them. And I think at the
Yeah.
end of the day, in the playoff type style of game, the shots are going to be they come in a vacuum. They're very difficult to get good easy shots. And so whatever you
Right.
can manipulate to create uh, more fluidity on offense, I think Tibbs should have done. Again, Tibbs, I respect you and everything like that, but I'm just
Hmm.
saying, I feel like you didn't optimize what your team was capable of in that situation by not creating a different style. I mean, because Randall can play up to the 3-point line. I didn't think that at first, but then I watched them last year and I was like, okay, I see it. I see it a little
Yeah.
bit. So why not utilize that? Because he was just playing short corner all the way in the rest of the whole series in it, and that's a problem for him. Capella's a tremendous shot blocker, interior presence. So
Yeah.
that
Absolutely.
was just my
I
rationale
agree with
last.
that. No, I agree with that notion for sure. I just
You
don't
guys
know
are
how
right about this
long they
year.
could have. Yeah, I don't know how long they would have been able to do it. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
again, and you know what I mean. But I think you're right though. We should have seen the look a few times. We should have seen that
Yeah.
that option at least. Because we didn't even get it to see what that would have looked like. With a Bullock out there.
Topping at the
So and
floor.
yeah, topping at the 4. Like
He's just running,
I think
jumping, alley, everything.
it's also comfortability, right? And I think Tibbs sometimes gets caught into what he's comfortable with, comfortable
Mhm.
doing with his team, kind of not jumping out the box a little bit, and I think that's some of the stuff that we hope that he starts to learn from, maybe trust his coaching staff a little bit more when it comes to offensive schemes, and I'm sure someone in his corner has told him that as well. But again, I guess we live and we learn, and he's learned. He's come a long way as a coach. When you think about his tenure with Chicago and his tenure with the Timberwolves, and now this year he actually played Barrett and Toppin a lot of minutes. And in
Yeah.
years past, he probably wouldn't have done that. So
Yeah.
And IQ as well. He played a lot of minutes.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, and I guess we gotta really. It's going to be one of those things where we're going to have to go through training camp and practice and preseason, and he's going to have to really get a feel for the new look of the team and see what works. But I agree, they definitely should figure out a good way to capitalize on a small ball type lineup. Um, and if the summer league gives you any idea of how much better Obi looked playing at the center position, surprisingly, maybe Randall, on the NBA stage, would have that same type of success because of the fact that he does have the speed advantage over these short, these slow-footed centers. He's definitely a presence anyway. He rebounds like he's a center, so I think it actually it's a good look to mix in here and there.
We've seen it in the regular season against the Pacers, right? When he was up against Sabonis, and we had, I think Norlands
Yeah,
went
yeah,
down, and we only had Taj, so Taj had to get some rest, and so they played Randall on the five, and it worked really well. But I just don't know how comfortable Tibbs is in that situation. You know what I mean? Because it didn't seem he did it out of necessity and not
right,
necessarily as a scheme. You know what I mean?
Mm.
yeah.
Okay.
So maybe I mean maybe if they actually scheme it up, it'll be something that you know is successful and they can kind of incorporate that. Well, we'll see. It's like I said when Thomas mentioned it to me last year, especially the way the Knicks played in that playoff against Atlanta, I was like, well, this couldn't have hurt. So
Right.
it's worth
That's so
a
true.
shot. um,
I hate to. I just got more questions for you guys. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't plan on it. It's just popping into my head a little bit. So
Go
I
ahead,
just want to,
man.
yeah. Um, so Jericho Sims. One thing that has been huge for me is Jericho. Uh, and I talked to you about this, Ron. Was his movement, his ability to
Hmm.
guard pretty much any position. I think
Right,
is one of the most amazing things that I have seen in a long time is how he can move at his size. And with this younger generation, they're always playing different guys and because of switches and stuff like that. But I really think
right,
Jericho in certain packages would be spectacular. Where you said you wanted to just take some of the pressure off of the front end, the front court for scoring, and you wanted to go back court scoring heavy, and you had a guy that could really help you on the defensive end. I honestly like Jericho more than I like Mitchell because Jericho can literally guard a point guard. And you just don't see that. You just don't see that. That was a spectacular pick. And if you watch his film, his tape, I mean, he's smothering guards, like good guards, all over them. And he's got the length, and it's just impossible. So I'm just thinking he might be good for packages too. And I hate to be going away from RJ. I know that was one of our focuses, but I just think, the Knicks are a very intriguing project right now in what it's going to take the jump from we just made the playoffs to um, now we want to be in the mix. And I wasn't a fan at first of like how they use those picks, but as Ron convinced me over time, I still don't like Grimes that much, but that's personal. But he's a good player. There's no doubt about it. But I just think that Jericho's really going to take them to another level on the defensive end, and I know that I just wonder what you guys thought about him. In seeing him in summer league. I didn't watch him as much summer league as you guys did, though.
Yeah, Jericho is
um,
exciting.
yeah.
Definitely
John's
an
big on
exciting,
Jericho.
you know. Yeah, yeah. I didn't know nothing about him, to be honest. I had no clue who he was. The only person that I knew about was McBride. I didn't know about Grimes. I didn't know about, and so I was extremely happy with the picks and how they turned out. At least what they showed in summer league. The kid has lots of upside. He's young, and so I wouldn't mind him learning this year and not really going into games like that unless they absolutely need him to. Because I still think, there's something in Mitchell. I think there's potential in Mitchell that has not gotten out yet because of the injuries. And so if he plays a full season under Coach Tibbs and gets his mind right, we could potentially see a guy who can be a double guy at that center position, and that's just cleaning up boards, not like playing, maybe alley oops and rebounds, very similar to a Tyson Chandler type, but more of an athletic. Well, I wouldn't say athletic build, more of I'm not sure how to say it, but he seems more less
Camby?
mechanical. Yeah, more of a Camby type. You get what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that's a good way to see a Mitchell Robinson. A Mitchell Robinson would that has those intangibles. You know what I mean? That if he puts it all together, he could potentially be a Camby. He has what is he, 7 feet? He has a tremendous wingspan.
So
He just
my
doesn't have
buddy
the
has a
motor.
rule. My buddy has a rule about 7-footers.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference between a 6'11" guy and a 7-footer. 7-footers get
Okay.
hurt all the time. 6'11" guys don't. And so my concern is, and it's weird. Just don't look it up. I didn't think it was anything. There's
It's
a ton
literally
to it.
what 1 inch.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, if you go look at the 7-footers and the volume of 7-footers that get hurt, and the difference between the 6'11" guys that get hurt, it's like none of the guys in 6'11", 6'10" ever get hurt, and they're only an inch shorter.
That's crazy.
And so it's
That's
like
crazy.
it's very weird. Like for me, I don't think Jericho's a clean 7-footer, right? Jericho's like a 6'10", 6'11", right?
He's 6'10". Yeah, he may be 6'9", to be honest. But he's 6'10".
And I mean, he's
That's what they have him
bouncy as
listed.
hell. He's bouncy as hell.
yeah,
So
yeah.
he's
For
pretty
sure.
much a 7-footer, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm just thinking to myself, with what he can do for you laterally, like the better play for me is Jericho. And I don't want Mitch to be mad at me if he gets hold of this tape, but I'm just saying, like,
Right.
it's always going to be tough for him laterally, and then changing gears between going vertical and horizontal, whereas Jericho does everything excellent. I mean, when I watch Jericho's tape, and I cannot believe how well he moves, how efficient he is with his footwork, guarding like threes, twos, ones off of switches, and it's amazing. And I think it's just hard for me to say, hey, I'll still ride with Mitchell, because Jericho's just, I know I'm probably amping him up, but I mean, there's a lot there.
No, it's a great pick, but I mean, I'll give also credit to Mitchell, who's done a fairly decent job, even more so against point guards and on switches too, when he's healthy. Like when he's been on the court, we've seen him in big games block a few shots off of switches, come out and really defend out in the perimeter too. So I think he has that up as a part of his game as well. I think Jericho Sims is more of an athlete, right? Like he's built like a football player. You know what I mean? He's not lanky. He's strong. He's got good size, and he's sturdy. Where Mitchell has that lanky kind of movement. So and that to me maybe shows up a little different. It's like, but the good thing is that like they're gonna see each other, right? They're gonna be in camp together. The coaches get to see it in person, in action, and they can see what that versatility is going to be like, because you also got some Norland's Noel, you know what I mean, who also did a tremendous job this year. I mean, he led our team in block shots. What was he, top 5 in block shots last season? Do you recall?
That is a good question. I think he was in the tops, but I don't know if it was top 5.
He was,
but it was definitely. I think it was top 10.
Yeah, and he's 6'11". Yeah, he's 6'11", but meaning as far as rating, right? Like but he's light, right? He's like a pencil. Yeah. So he's pencil thin, and that's the thing that scares me. Like he doesn't. To me, his body mass is of a power forward, maybe even a small forward, right? And
that's what they drafted him as, a power forward, technically. Yeah. He was drafted
Yeah,
to
and
power forward.
so
But I
I'm
agree
not
with your
sure. I
assessment
mean,
on Jericho. I agree that
yeah,
Jericho should have some time to maybe because I could definitely like you were saying, and that was a great thing because sometimes I get anxious with talent and you get excited, but a great point. He can get in tons of foul trouble without being
hmm
knowledgeable about things
yeah,
on the defensive end and the pros and how people get shots and draw fouls and things like that. So you're 100%
yeah,
right that it's worth it to let him rock a little bit and give Mitch some more
yeah,
run for sure. Yeah,
yeah. I
And
mean,
not
if you
only is
sign
he
Mitch,
right about
hmm
that, but you're also
yeah.
right about Nerlens Noel. He
Nerlens
was
Noel,
third.
yeah.
He was
See,
third behind
he was
Rudy
up there.
Gobert and Miles Turner.
John,
2.2 blocks per
That's
game.
yeah. I mean, he had games where he had like 6 to 8 blocks. You know what I mean? And
really?
like yeah. I mean, New Orleans, as light as he was really doing great job when Mitch went down as a rim protector. Um, he didn't do much of anything else though, to be honest. Like he had a couple of games where he shot a nice 15-footer where you were like, oh, I didn't know you had that in the bag. But outside of that, he couldn't catch the ball to save his life, right?
Baby hands,
I don't know
baby
what was
hands.
going on there,
He's
and
got baby
and
hands.
yeah, and
That's his problem.
his putback game is horrible. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not really sure, and he's light, so he got pushed around a lot. Sometimes, especially if a team attacked the basket and they also went in for rebounding, he usually got pushed out the way after his first block attempt. And so there was always second attempts. Um, against us, and we weren't a really good rebounding team as a whole. So I'm looking for that to change as well because we could rebound the ball defensively. We can get out and in a fast break offense. With Fournier and Walker and Rose, and that's gonna look nice. To see guys run up and down the court and get quick buckets because we don't get none of those. We were probably ranked like 24th or 26th in
Yeah,
fast pace buckets. So
yeah, no, that's true. That's a fact.
we, it was
Um,
bad.
I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Geraldine McIver in the chat. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you. Also wanted to highlight Clyde Miranda, who said, "We definitely have more shooters this year. Keep Randall down low and let him become a legitimate big man." So he likes the
He agrees.
Randall at the center spot idea. So just,
Oh,
you
for
know what
three.
I mean? So I mean that's definitely something that they may think about. I'm sure they're going to be in a situation where they're forced to think about it because you're going to play a team maybe like Atlanta or Golden State if they go small, because I don't know how much bigger Golden State got as a team because they were small last year. They drafted some
Yeah,
guys, but I don't know necessarily if they got bigger bodies.
I just think that it really, and then not necessarily for when they play teams play small. It almost helps you when the teams play big more
hmm.
because
Mm.
his ability to bring guys out of the lane really opens up the rest of the guys to drive the ball to drive and get kick, and that's a big part of the NBA now is the drive and kick, the ball reversal, getting the ball moving and getting open threes off of interior drives. That's a big part of the
Right,
game, and so Randall, that threat is tremendous because you have to guard him all the way to the 3-point line. And
right.
if you put any center out there to the 3-point line, they're in trouble against Randall. I mean,
Hmm.
That's a
because
great point.
Randall only keeps getting better with the ball handling because Ron keeps showing me the videos of his ball handling. Um, and I saw the jump shot. I saw the jump shot, so I'm all in on the jumper. So I mean, the perimeter game has evolved to the point where it's an absolute. If I'm scheming against the Knicks defensively, I have to be cognizant of what he can do from the 3-point line all the way, to the rim, and that's a lot of area to
Right.
cover, like from a defensive strategy standpoint. And how does it affect the rest of your teammates? You don't get the advantage of your guy being a rim protector as much. and that takes away a lot of teams' defensive strategies when they have traditional bigs or even those 6'11" guys that don't have the same offensive polish that a Randall has.
Mhm.
That's just the thing. Like I love the matchup because I'm not saying it's something to resort to all the time, but I'm saying that it can really help this team to be more, I guess, a better offensive team at points where they're slot where they're sluggish on the offensive side. That's just my
Right.
thinking.
That is
You
a
know,
great
and I
take because that'll keep them elusive. You know what I mean, and to
Yeah,
keep them,
versatile.
that rotation, very versatile, especially with the team that we have now. Last year,
Yes.
you would have to mix and match with Bullocks and
Yeah.
Peyton, and then
Burks
they're
and
not
all
the
of
most
that.
consistent. You know what I mean? I mean, Burks would have worked, but we didn't have that many options when it came to like the versatility on the bench for sure. So and Rose, although he played a really good point guard, I don't know if he's a pop. I don't necessarily see Rose as a catch and shoot guy. You know what I mean? So it would have been tough to have him and Peyton on the floor with Randall, and you know what I mean. But this year, I could definitely see that being a part of our scheme and our offensive playbook. That's a great point because you're right. You got it. Those Embiids of the world don't want to go out in the perimeter and guard a guy like Randall. You know what I mean? He's gonna put him on skates. He can blow by them, or he can muscle up with them. And mix it. That step back, fadeaway jump shot that he does so well. He's gonna be tough to defend, especially again if you put a center on him.
Now, if they start doing it, I'm taking credit. So you tell
That's
Tibbs,
right.
holla at me, holla at me, yo.
That's
I
right.
got strategies. I
Gotta throw him on
got two
the
in the
gotta
bag.
throw him in the coaching staff.
Yo,
yeah,
you
man.
gotta.
Listen, I mean, it's a nice idea. It's a nice idea. But you know what? Another way that the Knicks could really improve um, is if I am correct that RJ is taking this next step. Um, because if you look at how he played for most of last year, you could definitely see the improvement. In his overall basketball smarts, what he was doing, how he was breaking down the defense and getting to the hole. Um, but let's not forget the improvement with regards to the 3-point shooting. And if the video that we saw of him working out, under Drew Hanlon's tutelage is anything, it definitely seems like that jumper is becoming smoother, and he definitely, I think, can stay right around that 40% mark that he made this year. Um, of course, you hope that he gets more touches, so I mean, that number could drop down to around 38 because obviously, the more you shoot the ball, the chances of it going in at the same clip are a little harder. But if he stays around 38% and puts up maybe 2 or 3 more attempts a game, I'm not upset with that because I honestly think he averaged 17.6 points per game last year. I think he could easily get to 19. I'm actually expecting him to be around 19, possibly a little over 19 points, close to 20 on some nights, because I just think that he's improved that much more as an offensive player. Um, and the other thing about his game that really I think will take him to the next level is if he starts to show that he can do more with regards to to facilitating and rebounding the ball because RJ is actually becoming one of the better defenders at his position in the league. He's not nothing like flashy. He's not NBA all team type defense, but as far as his perimeter defense, his help defense, he's become very solid. He's just at the right place. He stays in front of his man and he keeps them from driving to the basket. And I think all of that's going to improve this year. I don't know,
Yeah.
exactly
I
what your thought is about it, John, because it's tough to really kind of forecast when you haven't seen, you know, anything yet. Like we haven't got into the preseason, we haven't seen how RJ looks, if he looks different.
right.
But I'm just going off of kind of the workout videos I've seen and the fact that I've looked at his previous history of every year he's progressing. He's getting better because he keeps, working at it. So that's how I'm basing my
Yeah.
opinion.
No, I mean, I have to agree with you when it comes to defense. He might be the the best perimeter defender we have on the team right now. The way we have it set up, when you think about
Mm,
all the players, I think he may be the best one-on-one defender that we have now that we lost Bullock. And that's to say because he's grounded, right? Like on defense, right? He's really good laterally. He cuts off the paint really well, and he's been better and more solid on pick and roll defense as well, and getting out to shooters, right? He's worked on that as well. So I think Barrett will be a lot stronger as he gets older and a lot more proficient on his defensive end. I think more importantly, we need him to rebound more. If he gets an opportunity to crash the boards, I think he would be that more dynamic and not, and not get caught back screen. Like he, I think where his lapses are is like where he's chasing, where he's looking at the ball, the ball handler versus his man, and he gets caught backdoor a lot, things like that. So once he fixes that, I think we'll have a really solid defender in RJ Barrett. And yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I just don't know. I mean, it's all going to be dependent on how we do defensively. Because last year we were ranked number 4. If we stay top 10, then I think we get more shots offensively. If we drop, then that ball isn't going to get that many touches, right? Like Barrett isn't going to get the opportunity to shoot enough because we're not getting stops on the defensive end. If we stay top 10, top 6, I would say, then that means that we're getting stops and we're getting our offense going, and we're going to have opportunities to score a lot more points. You're going to have to share those shots, though, right? Because you got Fournier shooting. You got all of these guys, even in the bench. You got Quickly shooting. You got, I'm sure Toppin's going to get some shots up as well. So there's going to be a lot to say about how he shoots it and if his percentage stays where it needs to be. But again, like I said, if we're top 6, I'm going to say top 6 because top 10, you're not going to get that many shots. If you're top 6, you'll probably have more shots offensively. And that means that, we'll probably be playing really good offense as well if we're getting stops.
I got some RJ things for you guys. I'm going to throw this at you.
All right.
So he's 35 minutes per game already right now. That's what he's playing. How much more minutes are there for this guy to improve his shots, his volume? He's taking 15 shots a game right now.
Mm-hmm.
So how much more time is there to take more shots? So shooting field goal percentage right now is 44%. So hopefully that goes up. Hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He's working with Drew. I would say it's going to go up probably. Okay. So he's more efficient. Yeah. Honestly, he's been efficient in terms of the growth. He only took 3 more shots, made 1 more,
Right.
but he's turning over the ball less. He's becoming a more efficient player. But here's the thing that is the biggest issue I have right now. And if he really wants to grow his points per game, he's only averaging 4 free throws a game. That's it.
I was
Man.
going to say that.
I knew he was going to say that, man.
I
And
said that last episode, right, Ron? I said that.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
And
he's gotta hit
for a
free
guy
throws.
for a guy that's going downhill as much as he is to only get 4 free throws a game, something's up.
Yeah.
So either they're not calling it for him because he's not selling it with the contact, which I think is the issue, or they don't like him because he's always getting downhill.
Imagine.
He's always getting downhill. So I think that's where his extra points per game are going to come from. They're going to come from the line, and that's what they come from for everyone. So hopefully he's learning how to draw contact a little bit more consistently within his offensive game. Because if he doesn't do that, I don't see his points per game coming up more, because unless he becomes an outstanding, he makes a tremendous jump in the shooting, and it's possible because I'm a big. When I say Drew Hanlon is the best to me, I really believe that because I've been watching Drew from day one. And the work, I mean, he had John Jenkins, he had Jeff Taylor, he had, he had those guys, and they were athletes, but he really helped them to kind of clean up some of the perimeter aspect of their game. Jenkins wasn't an athlete, he was a shooter, but Jeff Taylor was a pure athlete, and he helped him to clean up some of the perimeter. John Jenkins' game was really clean in terms of finding his shot no matter what. And you'll see when you look at Beal, who works with Hanlon, Tatum works with Hanlon, all those guys, you see the efficiency and the polish to their score moves. That's what John Jenkins has. He just wasn't a great athlete. And you'll see that prevailing theme with all the guys that he works with, which is a great thing. So that's what RJ needs, a more polished bag that allows him to create better shots. But again, the issue is free throws. How can he get more? And he's shooting them at a 75% clip. So if he gets 4, he's going to make 3.
Consistent. How consistent can he be there? You know what I mean? And that's the biggest thing. Like game in, game out.
Yeah, because I think that it's not about the scoring. It's about the opportunities, right? And so I don't think it necessarily needs more. The minutes don't have to go up in order to translate to more scoring. It's the opportunities, and which goes to the point of him playing more with that second unit and not having to share the offensive burden so much with the starters. So if he becomes a bigger focal, but that's being a starter.
He's fed
and that's
very,
being a
very
starter.
Well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's being a starter. So imagine if he's able to be on the court more with that second unit and be that type of guy. Because RJ's game, when I saw RJ come out of Duke and the Knicks got him, I wasn't quite sure what he was yet. Then year 2. In year 2, I started to see he had a lot of James Harden similarities. The way he attacks the basket. He's not the same level of finisher that Harden is, but the way his attack is and the strength that he has, he can definitely get these easy calls to get to the line. He just needs he's got to do something a little different when he's attacking the basket. And listen, maybe you're right. Maybe the refs, there's something about him that they don't feel comfortable with yet. He's got to learn how to change that around. He's got to command that, hey, listen, I'm out here working. These guys are hacking me. Let me get to the free throw. He's got to do something.
Yeah, I think sometimes, just to say this, I think sometimes to that degree, I think sometimes he finishes too strong. When you talk about selling it, you get what I'm saying? Like, he'll bully you all the way down. Yeah, Harden will sell the hell out of it. You know what I mean? And still, And you need that. You need that. Those acting skills, like the Ginobili acting skills. You need that because, you know what I mean. Those guys, like for RJ, he's like, it's just not in him. He's like, I'm gonna bully you, and then I want to you know what I mean. And it doesn't go well for today's NBA. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're not calling those. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Prophet. What were you gonna say with that?
No, that was exactly what I was gonna say, man. You got it.
Oh, you're going with it?
So, that was exactly it. That was exactly it.
That makes sense. He's one of the two things. Either he's going to have to start learning how to sell the foul better, or he's just going to have to become an even better finisher. Like some of this contact he's facing, he's going to have to finish through it. So
he can finish through contact.
One or the other.
I just think. Yeah. So,
well,
he's
he's
interesting.
Yeah, that's really kind of what I wanted to highlight and talk about when it comes to RJ, because I feel like I said before, he's getting a lot of hate for no reason. He has done nothing. I'm telling you, if you just go to Twitter or any of these Knicks sites and just put RJ's name in there, you'll see this guy getting mentioned for no reason, like negative stuff for no reason.
You know why, though? You know why?
What are some things they're saying?
You know why? You know why, though? I'm going to put it out there. You know why? It's because he's Canadian. They don't like Drake. They're not going to like RJ. That's just what it is. That's the reality. It's
That's
because he's
messed up,
Canadian.
man.
Let's get it.
Oh,
It's
man.
it's
It
the
can't
real.
be.
It's the truth.
It
It's
can't
gotta
be.
be. It's gotta be. If you don't
That
like
might be
Drake,
it.
because you know what I mean, like
That's
stop, like
that's
stop.
our brothers in the North, man. We the North.
You know what I mean? But that's what they
And they
do,
are cool.
man.
And they are cool. You know, they've been seen together. And Drake does wear RJ's old
That's what
high
I'm
school
saying.
jersey.
That's what I'm saying. They hate because he's rocking out with RJ Barrett, and not only that, they got free healthcare. We don't, so goes hand in hand.
Now that's a problem. You know, I'm almost ready to hate too.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a question for you guys, right? I got a couple of questions actually.
Okay.
Seeing that the Knicks organization and players of the Knicks have went to Hanley before, why aren't our staff or our front office bringing a kid like Knox to Hanley to work with? Because that's interesting.
I don't.
how can one
I don't
player
think
get in and not another?
is very unique in the NBA, and this is, and I'm blessed that I've had the opportunity to kind of swim in that ocean a little bit when it comes to being around that. It's very unique for teams to say, "Hey, I want you to," with today's type of player, because these players are a very different nature of mentality today. They want to do what they want to do their way today. Maybe back in the day, where it was more of team ran you, the team owned you, and I'll be honest, that's just how it was. And I don't think it was right, but that's the way it was. They would they would actually kind of influence your decision making. But I think nowadays they let the guys decide where they want to go. And I'll be honest, RJ just lucked out and went to Drew Hanlon. And I think at the end of the day, it just happens to be a really good decision. I don't know if it's gonna be met with support for a team to force a guy to go to a specific trainer. It just looks kind of heavy, and players, may or may not be on board with it. They may not like Drew. They may not. They may have a guy that they work with all the time that they're in with, and they're like, "I'm not going nobody else. I'm going. I'm going to my guy." And
You
they
got me
like their
here,
guy,
right? Who got them
you
there?
know. So I think that's really the biggest deterrent in that regard. So
Right.
yeah.
No, that's a good point. I always think about it like how we grew up. Where it was more like, you want to get better, you got to work on this. And this is who you can help you there. You know what I mean? And
Right.
you took that information and you ran with it, because if you as a player wanted to get better, you went and looked for it. You asked around. And I think that's interesting that you say that, and you might be right. It's like, who got me here is how I'm going to continue to work through my career. I mean, although Knox has been with us for 4 seasons, right? It's
Yeah.
been four,
Mhm.
or it's
Because I
coming up
know a
on
few
four
trainers.
seasons.
I
This
know
this
a
is
few
this is the
trainers.
fourth season. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know
fourth
a few
season.
trainers. Like one of my guys that I'm I consider him a mentor. When I was doing the trainer, he's now coaching overseas. He worked with PJ Washington. He's actually he was in North Carolina. He's still here, but he coaches now overseas. Um, Gilbert Abraham. He's all over the
Hmm.
draft combine. You'll always see him doing the workouts and leading that type of work now. But his guys are Justin Jackson, PJ Washington, Joey Baker. He had a few guys, things like that. And they're all Carolina guys. He worked with Ray Felton. He was with his AAU guys and gone on the road and stuff like that. And I think a big thing is that's the guy is their guy. So he would go to Justin
Right.
Jackson when he was in Dallas. He would go. Those guys go and they stay with their guy because their guy put their bag together. Their guy has the best feel for what can take them to the next level. But
Right.
every good athlete, I think, in my opinion, knows that you can learn from different experiences.
Yeah.
And I think the really good guys, the guys who get a lot better, make sure they go to a lot of different guys in the off season and get at
And
least
they
one or
go to
two
other
workouts.
players too.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
They even look for other players to work out with. I mean, you heard the rant
yeah,
when he was just coming into his prime, going and wanting to work out with LeBron. It's like, you know, you know, you have to go
But
up against the
Dame Lillard's been with the same guy forever. So
That's true too.
there's a lot
Right.
of different ways to
That's
go.
true.
I mean, Dame's guy's been, I think, almost since high school.
Right.
So
And
Yeah,
the
I mean,
same could be said about Iverson, right? Because I don't think Iverson ever actually trained. He just woke up and did it. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
don't
I
do
mean, but
that. He's not a
that's
practice
similar
guy.
to Jamal Crawford. Jamal Crawford didn't
Yeah.
practice. He shot up.
Right.
He just shot the ball around. He did like little scrimmages and stuff. He would play pickup games,
Right.
but he didn't practice. Like in the off season, that's all he did. But like he didn't
Yeah.
go
So
to a
it's
trainer,
tough.
and he just shot his own way.
Yeah, it's tough to impose, like,
Yeah.
hey, I need you to go work with this guy on guys. So, but I think I think it would really benefit that whole. I mean, some of the guys who are offensively looked at as offensive guys, I think it would benefit them tremendously to go work with Drew. He's just a
Yeah.
tremendous guy in terms of cleaning up your footwork, cleaning up your shooting, making sure you have tons of things in your bag, and I think he gets you better, like in it
Right.
quickly, Whereas I
Yeah,
think a lot of guys give you things that you can do anywhere, and it doesn't necessarily optimize your efficiency.
Right.
And
yeah,
I'll be honest, that pure sweat basketball, I don't know if you guys have ever followed them to a degree, but when I would work with kids, all of the drills, all of the things that they did, helped with, and I mean, I'm not just talking basic stuff. I'm talking about intermediate things where you were working on guys' side steps, you were helping them to finish, helping finish with, all different hands. So going to the right, finishing with the left. This is early stage stuff, right? This is the earliest stages of that. Now that's regular stuff. Like you see Rondo doing the lefty layups on the right side and then rotating it and doing it again and doing it again on both, and so I mean that type of stuff was the stuff that him and Alan Stein were kind of, I think they were at the forefront of it. And so Drew understands it all, and I think also he's a purist to that degree.
Right.
And I think that helps him a
yeah,
lot too.
yeah. And honestly, it's. I think Knox feels, and I don't know this for a fact, but I just feel like Knox feels kind of like he's on his own. Like it's the Nick team and the organization, and because he hasn't popped into what they hoped he would be by now, and he hasn't been getting playing minutes, and he watched guys like Obi take the minutes that he should have, and he saw Obi struggle throughout the year and still get those same minutes where he couldn't crack the roster. Like I think he feels a certain way, and so he keeps his inner circle, which is primarily his dad and who his dad has him working with. So he stayed true to that. The only thing he did deviate from is last year in the offseason, he started working with Lethal Shooter. You saw me always talk about Lethal Shooter and how he was working with him. So I think that might have helped him, but we couldn't see it because he didn't get minutes. So we don't know if Knox has improved on certain things. We basically seeing his minutes being stripped away because of Thibodeau and what Thibodeau sees or doesn't see in
Hold
practice.
on.
Play defense.
Hold
Gotta
on.
play
Hold
defense.
on. Hold on. I'm gonna defend Tibbs there because you gotta show
Yeah.
up in practice. And you gotta be in the right spots defensively. If you ain't
You
in the
gotta
right
play
spots
defense.
defensively, yeah, you're not gonna get time on the court. And he should know that.
Never let a
He's
guy play you
been
don't play
he's
defense.
he's not a young player. I mean, young in as far as age, but not young in the game because he started with a couple of different, teams. And if Tibbs is calling you out for not being ready defensively, dude, that's telling you something. That means
It is.
go
It is. It
go
is.
go out and get some defensive help and some strategy and practice there. You know what I mean? Like get better there because if shooting, you're not going to get minutes if you're not playing if you're not playing defense, if you're not right in your spots. So he
Right.
has to take ownership of that. You know what I mean? And for me, it's like, well, he's 4 years in, he's probably like 4 million a year, something around those. So he already made
Yeah,
like
he's around
18
there.
mil.
Yeah.
He already made 18 mil. For most guys, you good, right? 18 mil, give me 18 mil. I'm straight. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Going your
so
way.
for him, exactly. So at this point, it's like, well, what are you bringing to the team? What are you bringing? What are you offering us? Because if it ain't on the defensive end, then we don't need you. If you're gonna come in and bring in defense and play defense, and you can hit those open shots, and then learn how to drive stronger, like be strong on your drive when you're going to the basket, and not flailing your arms all over the place like that. That's the type of stuff that you don't really fall into favor with a coach. Coach gonna look at you and I'm like, dude, you're a mess. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? Like you're in foul trouble.
That's exactly
you don't rebound.
right.
Like it's crazy.
That's
exactly.
I mean, I agree. I think in Knox's case, working with a shooting coach doesn't matter right now. He needs to work with a defensive coach or someone who can work on his other aspects of the basketball game that he's not doing. Playing solid defense, rebounding, and
Call
that
Rick
would be
Mahorn,
enough.
Lambeer, I don't care. Get some.
Dennis Rodman.
Get something. Get something.
Get the worm out there. It doesn't matter.
Anything is better than what he's learning now. Because right now he isn't learning, how to move defensively and where to be in spots when his number is called, and that's why he gets the the quick trigger.
He's got
he's 21 now. He's 21 or 22 now.
22 now.
Yeah.
He's got the same body type as Mitchell, but he's 6'6". He's lanky.
Is he 6'6"? I thought he was like 6'10".
Knox is 6. No. Knox is 6'9", 6'10",
6'9", right?
Around there.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
He got lanky.
That's a lot. That's wrong. I apologize. No, Knox is like 6'10", 6'10" around there.
6'10", right? 6'9". He's like a Durant.
He might be 6'10".
He's like Durant.
He might be 6'10". Yeah, hold on.
He don't play like it though. He don't play like it.
They got him listed at 6'7" basketball reference.
They got him listed at 6'7".
Well,
you guys
actually, he's right. Yeah, 6'7". But that's weird because I saw him somewhere else and he said he was like 6'9", 6'10". Weird.
No,
he
man.
might be 6'9" because he was still growing. He was still growing when he got drafted. So
that's right. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
he was what 18.
I forgot he came into the league at 18. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
So
he might be 6'9". I don't know, and I don't think the NBA updates their thing. You know what I mean? Like they don't update their.
I mean, you saw we tried to do a video about teams rosters and freaking. I don't know. They had like Earl
that was crazy,
on
bro.
It was just.
It was crazy. They had like Stephon Marbury on the roster. I was like, what? What's going on? We went way back.
That's no good. Yeah, no
nuts.
good. Okay.
They got him listed at 6'7" on the Knicks roster.
Only 6'7".
Well,
okay. Well, if he didn't grow much, he's got to get stronger.
His wingspan is 6'11". Okay.
That's
his wingspan is 6'11". That's what it is.
His wingspan is 6'11".
Mitchell Robinson light. Yeah, that's what he is.
Yeah, that's basically what he is.
Well, anyway,
here's my last question, and that was one question I brought. Here's my last question for you guys, and this is a good one. So we all heard about Fournier coming to the Knicks, and the first thing he asked is, where can he get a haircut? I'm just saying, man. Take it off. Take it off, man. Go bald, man. Fournier doesn't need to be rocking hair anymore. It's over, brother. Come down to us. Me and Ron. Ron, you stumbling? Or you took it off?
Nah, I'm a little.
Yeah. You already know.
I need
what it is, man.
Do it.
Oh no!
Listen,
no man,
you good.
Those French guys don't go ball.
They have to. He's playing for New York. He gotta go bald, man. He got that science teacher headline, man. It's not a good look. It's not a good look.
He has been dying to tell Fournier about this haircut thing. I'm
telling you, the one reason why I wanted him on, the one reason when we was like, say a Nick podcast to come on, I swear to everything I love, I wanted to come on our podcast just to ask him that one question, and that was the only question I was going to ask him. I would have let you rock the entire night. I would have been like, when are you going bald, dog? Because you killing me right now.
Hey, man, listen. You know, some people can't let go. I hope you don't let go of that. If you don't let go of the hair, that's fine, but don't let go of the jump shot either. Make sure that jump shot is still, rocking. That's all we need.
He's gonna score buckets. That's without a doubt. I don't see him digressing. You know what I mean? Not with this squad. I think he's gonna really showcase his talent in New York. And Kemba Walker may rejuvenate. I didn't know how to say that word. He may rejuvenate his career in New York.
I got some thoughts about that though. I didn't think about the fact that we're all native New Yorkers here. Okay, so we're comfortable with New York. Right. He's not going to be, outsiders, they struggle with the transition, and it's a real transition. Like he's going to have a bad night one night, and they're going to kill him. They're going to kill him. They're going to kill him so bad.
The hairline memes are going to be off the charts.
He's going to be like, what? What's going on? I just had one bad night. And how's he gonna come back from that? I think he's tough enough, but I don't know how guys. I'm not trying to go to another sport, but you see with Lindor and some of these other guys how they responded to some of the negative energy.
Whoa! We're not going there, are we?
I know.
I'm just and I was upset last night.
Were you? Why were you upset?
Because my native guy took us deep 3 times. That's why.
I'm just talking about how guys athletes respond to New York. And I wonder though, Kemba I think will be fine because Kemba's going to be Kemba because he's a native New Yorker. But anyone that's coming from the outside, there's something to be said for that initial period and how you handle us,
Right.
It's how it goes. It's going to tell a lot about how your outlook's going to be as a member of a New York team because it really comes down to how you handle us.
Yeah, but all you need is a defining moment. And if you play your game,
a haircut, defining moment, dog.
Nah, that's not going to get it done.
That might not be
that haircut. It's a wrap. He's going.
But if you go out there and you play your game the way you know you can play your game, a defining moment will happen. It's just natural. That's how things work. It's like it's.
But if you have a week and you suck, New York wants to bury you.
That doesn't matter. It don't matter. For example, since you brought him up, for example, Lindor has come to the Mets and we gave him $330 million and he hasn't showed anything and the team stunk, right? Last night was his defining moment. Now he is.
I told you he would be okay. I told you he'd be okay. He's going to finish 260 before it's all said and done.
Yeah, well, and there you go. That's my point.
On the backs of my Yanks.
It just don't happen. It don't happen overnight, but it happens.
Dude, I was crushed. I was like in between. I was like, I don't know why I want to like this or hate this because he's my native guy. He's Puerto Rican. So I got to root for him. Yeah. And I got to root for my Yanks. And it was like, I was stuck in between 2 worlds. I was like, oh my God, he hit another one. No! I was like, it was all over for me, bro. I was so confused yesterday. I was so confused.
I mean, listen, the point of it is he did it with flash, with flair. And
he was talking shit.
All right, let's get back to basketball. I love baseball more.
I'm sorry. That was crazy. But back to Fournier's hairline, right? Defining moments, right? He's an 11-year pro. He's an 11-year pro. I'll say this: he's an 11-year pro. Has played in Orlando and he's played in Boston. He didn't have a great time in Boston and didn't shoot it well, right? He came in. They brought him in to kind of play off of Tatum and Brown, similar to like Haywood. Yeah. I think Haywood did really well. You know what I mean? Haywood, legitimized that spot and then moved on. And they thought Fournier could come in and kind of play the same role. It didn't work for Fournier. You know what I mean? And Boston's a tough town, you know, and I'm not a Boston
They
fan,
were
but
killing
Boston's
him.
a tough town to play. Yeah. So if he was able to get through that, because he had a decent playoff run, if he was able to get through that, I think coming to a place that he's so-called wanted to play for, from what everyone's saying that in French media, that, you know, he's always wanted to be a part of the Knicks and this has been his dream to play for the Knicks. If that's true, then he'll figure it out. He'll start by getting a haircut, go bald, and then he'll, you know, work on that jump shot and play his role. I think he's gonna maximize his opportunity here. I think, you know, because what is it, a
I
4-year
like
deal?
him. I'm a big fan of this. I hope he does well.
Yeah.
Is it a 4-year
It's
deal?
a 3. It's a 3 with a 4th option, but it's
So
he'll be fine. He'll be fine.
yeah,
I don't think he'll have any problems. And I also think, you know, he's got a tough moxie about him. He doesn't back down from other superstars and other teams. You know, he gets in Garnett's face. He talks crap on social media. He'll be fine. He'll be fine.
he's a scorer though.
I'm not
Like
worried.
he's got a scorer's mentality. Like that's what I like. Like he could chuck up 3-4 shots and miss. He's still gonna put them up. He's not gonna let it affect him, you know, on the other side of the basketball court. Like he's gonna play defense. He's not the best defender, but he'll play it, you know, like he'll get in front of you and, you know, and rebound the ball, you know, with the best of them. So I like Fournier. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Just get that haircut, man.
Yeah.
Go bald. Let it go. Let it go.
Yeah. Do what John says, Fournier. If you do nothing else while you're in New York, get the
That's
hair.
right. Listen to this podcast. Go bald. Get your own clippers. So every night before you play, you clip it off and you go bald, man. That's it. You good to go. I'm telling you, the ladies
all
gonna
we
love
want.
you. Well,
That's all we
he's
want.
married. He's married, but still, he'll be on the next GQ magazine if you go bald. You know, they have those magazines in New York. You know, you already know.
All right.
Ladies love them bald guys.
All right, here we go. You ain't lying about that. But anyway, that's beside the point.
Don't
All
get
right.
in trouble, Ron.
No, we're good over here. Anyway, I want to thank
Prophet
you guys.
don't have those problems. You see it, right? Prophet don't got
No.
those
Nah,
problems.
yo, it's
All right,
coming.
he got
It's
full
coming.
set.
My dad
He got
was bald.
full
My
set.
dad went bald. My dad bald. He been bald for 20 years. So you know, my time is.
good. You still
I don't got much.
you still got
It's not
time. You
growing
got
no
time.
more. It's not
It
growing.
ain't growing
no
no more. Listen, you got a full
you'll be
set.
fine.
In my eyes, I don't see you got a full set. You good. Like mine's receding all the way over here. Once it started going back here, I was like, I'm over. It's done.
Oh wow.
I ain't doing it.
Oh,
I ain't
wow.
doing it.
Yeah, nah, I'm good.
Well,
Exactly.
you know, we don't have a hair club for men sponsor, so we're gonna keep it light.
This is the perfect episode.
but this is the perfect episode. So if you're out there, you know, give us a call.
That's right.
'Cause, you know, we might be able to use you. We're not
not just for
part of
men. We're looking for for like Clipper sponsors. You know what I mean? Like what are the walls?
Yeah.
The
Hit
walls.
us with the yeah. We'll take it all. But anyway, as I was saying, this is you know, turned into an overall Nick, you know, topic show, but it started off as a RJ show, and I want to bring the emphasis right back to RJ because
let's do
RJ, I expect him to have an incredible year. I think he is going to be in the running for a lot of things that you wouldn't necessarily pick him to be in the running for. It all depends on how the Knicks use him, but if the Knicks give him an opportunity, I think he's going to shine through. I expect him to, you know, increase his scoring, increase his facilitating, and maybe increase his rebounding a little bit because he did average around 5.8 rebounds last year. So that's a good clip from a shooting guard. You can't ask for much more. If he starts playing more at the small forward position, he might have more opportunities. So we'll see what happens. And right. I just hope that, you know, the Knicks continue to use him in the right way, because if you start messing around with the guy because you think you know what you got and don't let him play his game, that could be a problem. So hopefully that's not the case. Anyway, Thomas, do you have any final words? You know, you want to tell the people where they can see you on Twitter and you know, or Instagram with your company?
I think if you want to, you can hit me at Feed Sports. I mean, I'm pretty much watching everything. I watch it all. Anytime anyone wants to maybe have a little dialogue, I dabble in baseball pretty deeply and basketball, and and all the sports really. But anytime people want to have dialogue, I've done some fantasy sports advice, but I'm pretty much more of like a scouting guy that loves sports. So any analysis, insight anyone wants to maybe bring to any resource, feel free to hit me up on at Feed Sports on Instagram. And I do thank you guys for having me. I just love to talk hoop. It comes down to that, and I love to talk baseball, but I love to talk hoop too. So, um, I feel like the Knicks are gonna be okay. I'm trying to figure out. Um, I think it comes down to Tibbs. At the end of the day, it comes down to how Tibbs is going to use these resources. I think the front office has done an outstanding job. I didn't think they were going to be this good. No, I'm not trying to assault them, but this is their first go around. This is their first go around at it, but they clearly know what they're doing. But I want to see Tibbs not coach this team like he coached the team in Chicago, because this team is starting to look like the team in Chicago to some degree, and I'm nervous if he's going to deviate and use use his players more in more creative ways, as opposed to relying on their natural like areas of strength and not helping them out a little bit. And I'm just
Hmm.
being honest, because um, Noah, those guys, they were good, but they did one thing. In no way were they able to diversify the way they were utilized to maybe take them to another level. And so he maxed
Right.
out. Once Rose maxed out, the whole thing maxed out, because he couldn't find another way to get anything from him. And so I think it's really important for him to find he has some really strong assets. Some Jericho Sims, Quentin Grimes seems to be a solid player. You can count him as seventh, eighth guy off your bench. Deuce, same, you know. And the starters, and you're gonna need them with Kemba, because Kemba's on another side of his career right now. So you're gonna need that guard depth. I mean, you got quickly. Um, he's gonna be a little bit of a specialist. So I think it's a unique fit, and I think what it comes to is Tibbs, and I think honestly the Knicks need like an offensive specialist coach. I really think they do. I think a lot of teams do that type of thing. They have a guy that like is an offensive coordinator, like they do in football. They have that in basketball now. So I think he needs one of those guys. And if he gets one, I want to take credit for that. Because I opened up the idea. Uh, and I just think that he needs that, because he's such a good defensive coach. I just like anybody. I'm a head when I coach. I love to have an assistant, because I need another perspective. It's me. It helps us to be better, And I think that's got to be the approach that he takes moving forward. It's not my way to highway. It's me saying to myself, I know what I'm great at. Let me find some people that are really good at the things that I'm not necessarily great at. And that's what all
Yeah.
great leaders do. They supplement their weaknesses with really strong people. And I hope he does that. And I think that if he does that, then the Knicks will clearly, because the root of who they are is their defense. I think they'll thrive regardless, because that defense always holds up. It carries you from the regular season into the playoffs. And in the playoffs, the only issue they've had is the scoring element. And can they find buckets? Because buckets come in a vacuum in the playoffs. So um,
Yeah, well,
we'll see.
I hope they do take heed to those words. I mean, I don't necessarily know if they have somebody like that already in the mix that they're just not giving credit to, because that coaching circle over there is pretty deep. I mean, I see a
It's,
lot of guys
it's
on
pretty
that
good.
bench. I don't know what they
It's a
got
good guy
going
now.
on over there, but you got the guys that they mentioned, but there's a lot of guys sitting on those benches in the back, and there's a lot happening. So, but I agree. If it doesn't look, it looks like Tibbs is going to be here for 4 or 5 years, and if it doesn't look good, if there's not improvement this year with the weapons we got, then definitely they need to think about, changing the offensive strategy and maybe opening it up to some new fresh eyes or something like that. John, any final parting words?
No, man, just thanks for tuning in. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share with the friend. How do you say it, Ron? What's the slogan?
Man, tell a friend to tell a friend who tells a friend.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. And I'm good to go, man. This is a great one.
Yeah. I want to thank Cornelius Thomas, aka the Prophet from Feet Sports,
Yes,
once
sir.
again for joining us. He's my man that I can call in a pinch if I need an idea, I need some info, I need his help, and he's always been there for me, and that's why he's a very good friend and a good friend of the show. And I'm going to repay him for coming on this show by me beating him in 2K because it's the least I could do. So,
Get me a Knicks hat. That's what I need. I need a Knicks hat because I feel left out on the show. Knicks hat.
Word. Yes.
Well,
get
you know what? We may have something for you. We'll get you. We'll talk about that.
How about this? If
but
RJ averages over 20 a game, right? Then
Now we got to get your Knicks hats before the season starts. Not after the season. We got to get you rocking that early so they can be like, oh, he's been rocking that. He's been rocking.
Yeah.
Because we're going to go on some
you got to
win
rock
streaks.
and support. Yeah.
I got you guys. I got a few Knicks shirts in the closet. So.
All right.
Yeah, that's right. Well, once again, thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate you guys always being there and watching the show. We're going to continue to improve on things, and we're hoping that we'll give you a little bit more content as we go forward. We'll come up with different things to be able to keep you guys entertained. And the best part is going to be when the season starts again and we're able to look at these Knicks and enjoy Knick basketball once again. But and I'm just happy we're back to full strength. We got our man Jose being back with us. Thank you once again, Jose, on the ones and twos. Yeah. So as always, this has been Still Knick Fans. We'll see you on the next episode. Take care. Have a great night. And let's go Knicks and Mets too. We out of here.
Later. I'm going to bed.
It's a litmus test just to see who's best. Roll the dice, break the pipe, and let's see who's next. Ron and Jon on the mic talking New York Knicks. We be rooting and recruiting for the boot camp clip. Take a step back, take a minute. Talk trash, but we in it. Let's go now, cause we winning. All you haters, gon' be living. Run amok, knuckle up, ain't no New York punk. Step it up, keep it clutch, have the Midas touch. Let it go, let it flow like the Circus Soleil. Run the court, watch the show, we got something to say.